the drama starts. Lap 30, 8 laps to go. Sandopi hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Poleski dives onto the right side. Very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys. Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Poleski. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. Now it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the lap car and around those at the same time. At the same time, he's got the inside corner. Will he ride the curb? Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Vito Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. Look at the beauty as his right side will cook the grass. Oh, a 180, no, a 360. Oh. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernald. Gernald will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on. He missed the complete. He's crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
We've seen 11 rounds this season. One final race remains, and in a twist of irony, the sun sets on this season in the land of the rising sun. A classic but technical F1 circuit plays host today for round 12 of the Lotus 79 Classic Teams Championship, and you'll see it all live on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Sean Ambrose. Behind the scenes is our director, the Dr. Amjad Yaman, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Sean, Suzuka has seen some iconic moments wrap things up in the Formula One world. What's it got in store for us today?
Konnichiwa, Rinso-fan. Located in Suzuka City, Japan, Joe, this track opened in 1962 and used to be a test track for Honda. It's got a variety of corner types, a few high-speed portions, and a figure-8 layout that offers a more equal amount of left and right turns. Made it perfect as a test track, but certainly challenging as a racetrack. 3.6 miles around this 18-turn circuit, Joe. It's hosted Formula One back in 63 and 64 before F1 went to Fuji. But F1 got back here in 87, and Suzuka's hosted the Japanese Grand Prix all but 2 years since. Why don't we hop on board the GSRC Lotus 79 and take a lap around Suzuka?
All right, we've got Juha Norlampi in the GSRC Lotus 79, so let's do a lap around Suzuka. Coming down to turns 1 and 2, it takes some bravery attempting any kind of pass with the curved braking. It kind of acts as one long arc, but turn 2 is more the hairpin part of the bend and requires a late apex. Crossing over, you're going to set up for the S's, which is an extremely line-dependent portion of the track. Ideally, you want to set the car up for each following corner, rather than focusing on tracking out for each exit. Keeping your rhythm will be critical. It'll be mostly single file through here unless someone makes a huge mistake, but it all culminates in the launch in a Dunlop. Through this long sweeper, you'll be flat out and just drifting it off to the left to make sure you hug the inside on the exit. Then, brake hard for Degner 1 and try not to get into the AstroTurf so that you can set up for Degner 2. Use the banking here as best you can to carry your speed, then get ready for the hairpin. This is a good overtaking spot, but the kink on entry means sometimes you can't tell if someone will defend until it's too late, so keep your head up. Square off the exit and get to the power as soon as you can without creating wheel spin. You're not going to be lifting again until you get to Spoon. You might sometimes see some passes get set up along here, but the entry to Spoon is so quick it makes it kind of hairy to execute. Besides, once you come off the second sharper apex, it's really much smarter to focus on the launch from here. That's because it takes you onto the uphill climb along the backstretch. You're going to see a lot of slipstreaming, which will create some nervous two-wide scenarios into 130R. Thankfully, it's easily flat out in the Lotus, but you could still see problems come out of it. Then comes your last good chance for a pass, the Casio Triangle. Hard braking down into here from one of the fastest parts of the track offers prime real estate for overtakes. If you stay side by side through the chicane though, it'll be easy to trip over one another. Be easy on the power exiting the corner to keep from spinning the car, and hopefully if you kept it all together, you've now finished a lap around Suzuka. Laps around here certainly have tested many a driver. They call this a driver's track, and I certainly am sure it will be today. But speaking of the drivers, there's the Drivers' Championship that we've been covering all season long. So let's take a glance at the points and where they are currently. With Jarno Frisch leading at 1,520 points. Juha Norlampi, unfortunately, does not look likely to be able to overtake him. From what we understood, Jarno had to not show up today for Juha to have a chance to overtake him. So, unfortunately, it looks like Frisch has wrapped things up effectively. Now, there's quite a battle still going on behind, though. Look at the gap between Norlampi, Ruokola, and Lepisto. Still very close as we bring that graphic back up here just for a second. Even though it's going to take some drastic things happening, drivers can have bad races. That has happened a number of times this season. And we could see some shifting between second and fourth. And then, of course, we have the drop down to Hoffer. Now, Sean, let's jump over to the team points. And why don't you update us on what's going on over there?
Sure, Joe. Let's take a look at those team points now as we sit right now. Ligier Titans is still there at the top. Now, just a point separates them. Now, that's Ruokola and Clifton Cockrell in that Ligier Titans team, followed by Albalad Williams Racing, Jarno Frisch, and Simpkins on that team, just a point behind. So that team championship still very, very much undecided there at the top. Parmalat Racing there in third, Jared Hoffer's team, 226 points. Obviously, that they're not going to be battling for that first or second position. Third, it looks like where they'll end up unless Juha can have a big day today, maybe win this thing. He could possibly slot up to third back there in the Colin Bennett Racing team. And then Unipart Racing probably will finish right down there in fifth. That's Pablo and Dobie on that team, Joe.
So we watch qualifying here right before the race. Now, a quick special announcement. As it stands now, this is our last scheduled broadcast for the Lotus 79 CTC Series. If you'd like to get involved in organizing the next season of broadcast, go to globalsimracingchannel.com and use the contact form to reach out to us. We've enjoyed our time covering the series. We'd love to hear from you. I don't know about you, Sean, but both this season and the prior one have really been a joy here on the Global Sim Racing channel. I love these retro cars. I'd hate to lose this series.
Joe, first of all, this has become one of my favorite cars to drive on the iRacing service, and I don't know if our viewers know it, but I do spend time in these cars practicing throughout the week, and I would hate to lose this one. This is one of the ones I get really amped up for. It's a great time of the day, and these cars are so much fun to watch. Not only that, the level of talent that we see in this CTC Drivers' Championship. I mean, this is really some of the best from all over the world, not just from the European continent. But again, it would be sore to have that hole in our calendar for these guys. If you can get involved, please do.
Speaking of the best, we just watched Frisch take the pole once again. He's been having a habit of doing that. He got knocked off it last week by Norlampi, who managed to take the win. Yunus Puhaka trying to give him a run for his money, but about a tenth off. Going to put him on the front row there in second. We're watching Norlampi currently as he's coming across to put his first lap in. See what kind of time he's able to get on the boards. Oh, he must have had an off somewhere. He did not get a timed lap that time through.
Yeah, that Joe, at several spots here on the track where you can pick those up. Obviously on any road course, but there's a couple of challenging areas here where just a little bit of runoff. Degner, you've got to be really, really careful in Degner. If you miss Degner 1 or Degner 2, you're definitely going to get an off there that will nullify a lap.
Did a little bit of New Yorker slip out there for a second there, Sean? Careful. I know you've been living there for a little while now. But...
yeah, some of it's creeping back in, Joe. Sorry.
It's okay. All right, as we watch Timothy Dalton currently scored in 9th. He's coming up this Spoon Curve as he's trying to improve his time of a 2:44.7. Excuse me, no, that's a 150.3, as I was reading the wrong thing on my timing and scoring. I was thought about that for a second. I was like, wow, that's a really slow lap for 9th.
Jarno Frisch coming around for number 2 right now.
Out of the chicane, let's see if he can up this 148.4 as he crosses the line. He does by about 3/10. Oh, excuse me, no, it's 1/10 slower, pardon me.
Okay, and there's Ruicola just across the line. Ruicola going to move up to third. Whoa. Nice lap by Kyle Ruicola.
Going to get himself onto the second row. Let's go to Norlampi. It's going to be his last chance to get a time in. He crosses the line and up to second.
Oh.
Just a 10th off.
Drops Eunice Puhaka. Here comes Antti Lepisto across. Lepisto goes up to fourth.
Nicely done by Lepisto. I understand that he's been having a pretty good week this week.
Jared Hofer
he's coming around
through 130R.
We're hearing that Hofer is completed, but my time and scoring is showing he's only done one lap. Oh, his current lap, though, is incredibly slow, so it looks like he must have had a big mistake along there. And indeed, he's only going to stay in 7th for now. Just about 16 seconds left, so unfortunately, it looks like that is going to more or less wrap up the grid. Let's go through our order. Gernot Frisch has put it back on the pole once again, but his main rival this season, Juha Norlampi, is giving him a run for his money. Going to start beside him. Eunice Puhaka will be starting in third, and row 2 is going to be rounded out by Antti Lepisto. Kali Ruicola will be in 5th with Bycroft. A nice qualifying effort to get him into 6th. Gerd Hofer starting in 7th with that bad second lap, and Matt Wood starting in 8th today. Nikola Kaki starting in 9th with Timothy Dalton rounding out the top 10, Sean.
All right, I'll take the next 10. That's going to be Pablo Lumbera Suarez, 11th. Robert Simpkins, 12th. Randy Shoemake, 13th. Daniel Gattuso, 14th. Francisco Gutierrez, 15th. Barry West, 16th. Steve Sarles, 17th. Anson Benet, 18th. 19th, going to go Patrick Luzias. And 20th, Ralph Mathathius. Mathathius. Okay, Ralph. Ralph, give me a chance. I'm gonna work on it. Go, Joe.
Okay, Michael Jeans starts in 21st with Sami Valimaki starting 22nd. John Keefe, newcomer to the series, jumping over from the Camel Series in 23rd. Michael Hilliard, 24th. Tim Williams, 25th. And rounding out the field, David Van Voren in 26th. And those last few cars did not get a qualifying time in. We'll see if they can climb through the field as we wait for the lights to come up. Looks like Frisch has not taken. There he is now, has finally gridded up. Just a couple more cars there at the front of the field waiting to get out there. As all those classic liveries shining on those cars in the bright sunlight here for the final round of the Lotus 79 Classic Teams Championship, taking place at a classic circuit here in Suzuka.
Gotta go with Matthias.
All right. Sean will have time to work on that. Engines are revving. Green flag is out. What kind of start do we have off the line? Frisch with a good job, but Norlampi not so. Puhaka slots in front of him before they even get to turn 1. He's going to take over P2 as most of the cars start to get single file there through turns 1 and 2.
Not all of them. Oh, they're scrambling here at the back.
Bycroft and Kaki finally getting single file now that they get into the S's. Not really many passing opportunities through here, but it's a clean start. Now up through Dunlop, Gernot Frisch solidly ahead of Puhaka, who has Norlampi eyeing him after losing that spot. Bit of a bobble there through the Degner curves by Puhaka. Doesn't offer an opportunity for Juha. He has to sit back there. They're stretching away a little bit from Antti Lepisto, sitting in 4th as they come down to one of the good first passing zones here into the hairpin. Nobody really popping out, though.
Pretty well behaved opening lap so far. Barry West up a couple spots here, up to 14th already.
This track a bit notorious for being difficult to pass. especially in high downforce open wheel machinery, as we watch Barry West work his way around Spoon. But we come up to 130R, and Sean, I noticed from the lap guide with Juha, it seemed like this was easily flat. What was your experience through this corner in this car?
Just, you know, it might be flat for them. It really depends on your setup. I had to lift just a little bit about the 50. That's where you start to turn in at the 50 marker there, and like I said, just a slight bit of lift.
Out of the chicane, Kali Ruokola trying to work on Antti Lepisto for this 4th position. Very close on him. Look at them weave down the front stretch there as they come back to the line. Nobody's able to overtake down into turn 1 this first time by. Wonder if we're going to get a bit of a processional race today, if it's going to be all about preventing mistakes.
Plenty of opportunities to make one here, Joe. Certainly when I was doing my work here, I was focused on just trying to keep the car on track, stay right there to the left of the curbs, and try and keep it smooth. So far, the field is spreading out massively, though.
Tell you what, Puhaka, after that great start, I would have thought that he'd maybe be on the defensive worried about Norlampi, but instead, he's been focusing on Frisch, has been very close to that gearbox, and he has a bit of a bobble coming out of the hairpin that loses him some time, but not too much, as these top 3 pulling themselves away from 4th place onto their own race now. Oh, Benet having some problems.
Trouble for Benet out of the hairpin, Joe. It's turn 11. It's the one really good hairpin on this track you're going to see here. It looks like he just maybe gets the power down a little bit too quick, a little bit too much throttle.
Almost like he might have an H shifter on that machine and couldn't find a gear, and finally when it did grab, just it went.
Yeah, that could be. No damage. Nobody affected by that. 2nd place, though.
Look at this battle for 2nd place, though, right now. Coming down to turn 1, that's Norlampi on the outside, trying to outbrake Puhaka. He's got to run. He slots back to the middle of the track. And it looks like he's got a beautiful move set up coming out of the final chicane by Norlampi.
Juha would love to close this season with a win. He's got a good chance here to do it today.
He managed one on the broadcast at Road Atlanta last week. Can he do it again? Try and swing the momentum back in his favor, even if he can't take the championship. Coming up to the Degner corners, one of the trickiest turns here on this track. All of them solidly through there. Nobody looking like they're frazzled at all by that quick kink into that slow right-hander, and now up into the hairpin. Getting very close there, Norlampi, but a bad exit coming off of the hairpin gives an opportunity for Puhaka. Can't carry the momentum off the corner. They're going to exit as they entered.
Grip so hard to find out of that hairpin, Joe. It's a very, very slow hairpin.
Oh, a problem out of Degner 2 for Patrick Luzius. Oh, and this is what I was talking about with the leaders. Out of Degner 1, you can see onto that AstroTurf that unsettled them, and then once again, getting onto the green a 2nd time.
Yep.
That's what spun him around, but thankfully he didn't touch the wall.
Got a little lucky. Got a little lucky there. Like I said, Degner can be Degner 1 and 2 can be a real issue. Got to be so careful through there.
Diaz driver continues on in 22nd, just behind Bennett, the other driver who had a spin earlier on. Just ahead of them, let's take a peek at John Keefe. He's been taking an interest in this series after running in the Camel GT guys for quite a while. Very similar car to the Nissan, we understand. Keefe running 19th at the moment, so not doing too shabby, having started this race in 23rd.
Yeah, hey, listen, he's picking up spots.
Ahead of him, battle between Valimaki and Gutierrez down to the first corner, side by side. That's Valimaki around the outside, trying to hold on, finding grip somewhere, and it's going to switch back into the S's. Can he finally get it done? Nicely done by Valimaki over Gutierrez to get himself into 16th. Behind them, bit of a battle between Sarles and Keefe as well. Keith has to back out of it, unfortunately.
Sammy, another one of the Finns flying through the field. He is up 6 spots, started 22nd in this race. This 7-Up Formula One machine is on point right now, getting through Degner here.
Beautiful old homage to the Jordan machines of the 90s. Always loved that 7-Up scheme. Valimaki coming up to the hairpin. Next up, it's going to be Gattuso, excuse me, for him to try and chase down for 15th.
Yeah, he's already doing it, Joe. He's picking up time on him right now as we speak.
Let's head up to Steve Bycroft with Nicola Kaki. Bycroft, the Indiana driver, trying to chase down the Italian. He's got a draft heading up to 130R. If he can withstand the buffeting through this left-hand kink, and he does. Is he going to make an attempt down into the Casio triangle? And he's not close enough to have a go, so he's going to have to stay in line in 9th.
So many things to get wrong in that Casio triangle, Joe.
5th up for grabs here. Side by side, that's Hoffer around the outside, being incredibly brave as they break for turn 2, and Ruicola is going to manage to fend him off.
Jared got a little loose there on the outside. Started losing the grip, Joe.
And this has brought Matt Wood into the mix there in 7th. Unfortunately, catches them as they enter the S's, where there's no place for him to try and attack. As they come through Dunlop, this is where Wood really wants to get back up on top of Hoffer. Unfortunately, they have stretched away. Everybody really getting their own little bit of track now. Could maybe try and gain time here and see if he could have a go into the hairpin. Once again, not able to get onto the gearbox of Hoffer's Parmalat machine. Tell you what, the battle for second, not necessarily over. Even though Noralampi has gotten past Puhaka, he's been holding him to within 4/10, sometimes as low as 2/10 on the back of Noralampi's Lotus 79.
Yeah, good battle indeed. I think it's going to be here for a while. There were only 23 laps in this race today. When you think about it, that's a 3-mile circuit. It seems like a shorter race. It's not really, but these laps will run away quickly.
Puhaka had a great run on Frisch coming out of 130R. Oh, but he loses grip, and this is going to hurt him severely, as a great run from Puhaka is going to double up the pain as he goes to the inside. They're side by side down to turn 1. How hard is Juha going to fight around the outside? Holds on as they go side by side through 1 and 2, trying to carry the momentum in that banking. Runs out of track, but he's still holding on. He's got the inside down. And they make contact. They slam doors once again. Off into the barriers goes Noralampi. Puhaka continues. We're going to watch it on the replay, and Puhaka is steamed. Some words being traded in Finnish.
Yes, in Finnish. Not happy Finnish words. I don't think they were anyway.
We're going to go on board Noralampi. I don't blame him for fighting hard there, Sean. I mean, it's the last race of the season. He can't take the championship.
Yeah, and it's just a little, the contact results in a wheel hop that, honestly, he gets very lucky right there. It's Noralampi who gets the worst of it there. He does hit that barrier and bends up the front of his machine.
Noralampi is trying to limp that car around. He's already down to 11th and going extremely slow. So while the Preacher has to turn the other cheek, this promotes Lepisto up to 2nd and Ruicola up to 3rd. And look at Puhaka as well. He is not looking very well. Noralampi down to 8th. Looks like that one actually hurt Puhaka worse. $18 laps to go, so still early on in the race, Sean.
I was going to say Puhaka, certainly there could be some suspension damage from that. He sat there, obviously, for a long time, letting the traffic through.
We saw on screen Juha elects not to pit. He's going to try and continue and salvage what he can. I don't expect Eunice to make the same move here. He's already down to 19th, and now he finally gets in.
And obviously, in these races, pitting really takes you out of any real chance for contention as we start with full fuel on these.
Yeah, any sort of pit stop is going to hurt in the Lotus 79s as they usually don't have them.
You know, there's one good battle I've been watching, actually. It's Randy Shoemake, the Texas driver, trying to hold off Barry West. West, who we've seen pretty much all season, Joe, has had some misfortune and some decent luck along the way, but Shoemake giving him...
Oh, sorry. That was Michael Jeans, who just spun off in front of these guys. We caught a glance of him off to the side of the track. He was letting Robert Simpkins lap him, and it looks like just maybe a little bit too eager on the gas while on the AstroTurf. You can see it on the replay. That's a shame. I really like that number 19's paint scheme. I'm sad to see him leave. Classic old Miller, like one of the old Indy cars, it seems.
Miller time, baby.
Apparently, since he has now exited into the pits and likely not be able to continue in this race. So back up to Barry West for that battle. He's dropped off a little bit on Shoemake. They're coming up to one of the good passing zones here on track. Whoa, big mistake from Shoemake. Outbrakes himself. And this is going to give a chance to Barry West as they come out of the chicane. He's within the draft. Shoemake holding to the middle of the track. Now comes back to the racing line. What can West do with this as he closes in, pops to the inside. Side by side, down into turn one. Is West brave enough to get it done? He does. Beautiful move up the inside to get him into 12th.
Yeah, that's exactly what the doctor ordered for Barry West. He's been behind him for several laps, trying to figure out a way to pass, and takes advantage of a missed opportunity there for Randy Shoemake.
The Essex machine looking very handy out there today. Up at the front, the incident between second and third has separated things significantly because Lepisto was not very close to Frisch before we had the problem with Norlampi and Puhaka. So he's about 2 seconds back. And then behind him, it's another 3 seconds to Ruokola. Not going to see much unless we have a mistake from one of our top runners, or Lepisto can potentially maybe run down Frisch here.
Yeah, Joe, this is one of those tracks where, you know, if you start to put a little distance behind you, it's really, really hard to catch up if you're
We got to
smooth.
get to Gattuso. Had a spin, made contact with Shoemake, who we were watching a bit ago. This was in his spoon. We're going to watch the replay. It was an opportunistic dive, but it did not pay off.
Yeah, Gattuso, you're going to see him here. He's going to shoot to the inside. And, boy, Shoemake was just closing the door there. Tough deal here.
Holds the position over Daniel. Decided to let him take off ahead of him. Meanwhile, Norlampi is in a battle once again. Was trying to get by Timothy Dalton through turn one and wasn't able to execute. You can see on the last laps, Dalton actually a little bit faster than Norlampi. Which actually, was it Dalton overtaking Norlampi? Let me go back and check that.
It was. It was an overtake by Dalton, yeah.
Yeah, it was in the turn one.
It was. They're coming down the front straight, Joe. This will happen down into turn one. Dalton just gets the run on him on the outside. And he takes it all the way around the outside. Norlampi backs out of it after almost getting into him.
That is definitely a wounded Juha trying to do what he can, but credit to Dalton. This is a fairly good race for the number 11. Used to seeing Timothy being a little bit more of a mid-packer, but today he's running within the top 10. Oh, side-by-side action with Gattuso once again, as he's got John Keefe managing to get by him out of the hairpin up to Spoon. This is the scene of the accident last time. Keefe cuts him off to the racing line, and now Keefe is looking at Shoemake as well. Could be up to 16th after starting 23rd. This has been a great run for John.
Yeah, you said it, Joe. Identifying John there. He's just having that kind of day.
Oh, but Gattuso got the run off of Spoon, and he takes the spot back. So back down to 18th goes Keefe as they break through the Casio triangle. Driver struggling to put that power down out of that curved exit. Most drivers really starting to separate out on track. We do have a few battles that are still holding tight, but everyone else at least a second apart. So far, only have two retirees, Michael Jeans and David Van Doren. And I think Van Voren. I think David was a did not start.
That's correct, Joe. Yeah.
Last car on track, sadly, is Puhaka. Got himself in a second with a great start, and then...
And Tim Williams is actually just back out on track, Joe. Just coming out from a pit stop.
Excuse me. Williams running 24th currently.
Tell you what, Nicola Kulke still holding off Steve Bycroft, but not by much, Joe. These two going at it here. Bycroft trying to make up a little ground on him.
I want to say this isn't the first time we've seen these two battle this season. I'm pretty sure we've seen some great side-by-side action between them before. Right now, a little bit too far back for Bycroft to have a go down into turn one. Halfway through this race, though, only 13 to go now.
Steve giving really, really good chase. Listen, they're not far off Matt Wood, Jared Hofer, and Kaya Ruokola, just up in front of them. There's plenty of fighting left here. 13 laps left to go.
Honestly, impressively, you go back to Bycroft, he's only 10 seconds behind Frisch. So the pace of these top runners is actually very close, I'd say, to our leader.
They had to get around Ralph Pathesius there on screen. That's the other yellow car.
Pathesius currently running in 22nd. We jump up to Matt Wood sitting in 5th. He's been hounding Hofer. If these two start to fight, that could make the battle for 4th a four-way fight.
Joe, I just happened to notice Mathesius, a Liverpool fan. So it's the livery on that car.
There we go. For all of our football fans. Meanwhile, in 16th, once again, Gattuso in the thick of it. He's trying to go the long way around with Randy Shoemake and John Keefe on the inside. He gets John Keefe, but what can he do with Shoemake? He's got a great run. Oh, but he gets squeezed as Shoemake comes back to the racing line at the last second, down into Spoon. Keefe closes in as they hit the double left-hander. This is the critical corner. The exit coming off where you have to get the power down, and Shoemake gets the best of the three of them, stretching away. Gattuso, though, well clear of Keefe. These three have been at it for much of this race.
They have, and well, I'll tell you what, Randy's done a good job of just hanging on, Joe. He just...
Oh! Shoemake.
I didn't say that, Joe.
Shoemake outbreaks himself and then some, and he should have to give this back. Now, am I missing something?
He
should have to slow down here.
Maybe he's just trying to run it out and make it up down here at the bottom. I don't know. Got to be careful.
I'm not sure if maybe there's something in iRacing he knew about that he could take advantage of here. Or maybe he's trying to give it back here in the S's where he knows it's harder for them to overtake. Some crafty racing there from Shoemake.
Well, if you run just a little bit slower, Joe, you can run out those slowdown penalties, and whereas it may be holding up Gattuso and Keefe behind him, he's still got the position.
Certainly does. I don't think that'll make Gattuso and Keefe very happy, though. And look at Daniel trying to get another run. Defensive move to the inside by Shoemake down into the hairpin. We saw this last lap.
Ooh.
And almost, we're getting clipped by Keefe there. I was watching the same thing. Last time he got cut off down into there. This time he's going to look to the inside. This is where he hit him before. This time breaks much earlier to keep from getting into the side of Shoemake. Shoemake fends him off, but I don't think he got a very good exit off of Spoon at all. Here comes Gattuso down the inside on the backstretch. As they come to 130R, are they going to go side by side through here? Just manages to get in front of him. Nicely done by Daniel Gattuso to move himself into 16th. Now, it sounds like we used to have a bit of a battle for third, but Rucola has stretched away from Hoffer a little bit, it looks like.
Yeah, Hoffer and Wood that's more the battle right now. They're not too far behind Kai Rucola, about 2 seconds getting out of the hairpin here. I would say that third place is not safe. They're going to have to be really smooth and well, let's face it, perfect for the rest of this race to hold on to it. But Jared and Matt, I think, are the battle that we'll probably be watching here pretty soon, as Matt seems to be picking things up just a little bit here.
Certainly has been threatening Hoffer, keeping him honest the whole race. He's been within a second, essentially, of that number 6. To come up to the Casio Triangle one more time. All of them tucking it nicely down into that first apex. And that's what amazes me about the... Oh, and did Shoemake have a problem? He stopped at the side of the hairpin.
Joe, a little bit too much throttle coming out of the hairpin.
You see it on the replay. He was followed closely by Keefe. And as he gets on the power, you can see, it just swings to the inside.
Yep. It's an easy mistake to make down there. Again, it's a hard spot to find grip. You've got to be really easy back to the throttle coming off.
Well, that allows Gattuso and Keefe to fight amongst one another, though Gattuso, now that he's been released, he's a whole 2 seconds ahead of Keefe. Daniel started in 14th, so he's actually trying to make positions back that he lost since the start of the race. With only 10 laps to go, let's give you an update with our top 10. Jarno Frisch has been leading since the drop of the green. This has been his season. Just an incredible run the whole way. He was not as great as Norlampi at the start, the first couple races, but he rallied back and showed what he's made of and has dominated the rest of the way through. Antti Lepisto sitting in second. This has been a fairly good season for him as well, taking a few wins along the way on the broadcasts. Has been strong, has racked up top 5s week in and week out. Looks like he's going to get a podium today if he can keep it together, holding it about 1.5 seconds behind the Austrian. Then we have third place, rounding out the podium, Kalle Rucola, another driver who's picked off wins here and there when Frisch was off his game. The number 2 car currently sitting in third. You hop back to fourth, you've got Gerd Hoffer, who's also been running very solidly, but could maybe use a little bit more speed to try and challenge for wins. Matt Wood behind him gets my vote for one of the most improved drivers, sitting in the top 5 today. Excellent run by the Essex driver. What's the back half of the top 10 looking like there, Sean?
All right, well, Nicola Koch still holding off Steve Bycroft, who sits back there in 7th. Those two having a spirited battle right now. You're going to go a little bit further back, though, to find Timothy Dalton in 8th. In the 8th spot, followed by Juha Norlampi. Of course, we detailed Juha's problems there early on, his fight with Yunus Puhaka. And Juha in 9th currently. Pablo Suarez up in 10th. He's having a decent drive, staying out of trouble.
And out of our top 10, really the closest fight, in fact, the closest fight of the whole field, is for that 6th position. Koki and Bycroft, who've been at it all race long.
Yeah, Steve keeps trying to pressure him into a mistake, Joe. I don't know if that's going to happen. Nicola has been very, very good here today. Up from 9th spot there, sitting in 6th. And Steve has been a chaser since the get-go. And again, there's been no crack in Nicola's armor here so far. And Steve just not finding a great opportunity to make a pass.
We may be seeing an improved Nicola. He's been making mistakes throughout the season. In the past, I would have expected him to maybe throw this away and let Steve through. But right now, as you said, looking relatively flawless out there. As Steve's held on just within half a second, but can't do anything with it. Look at him swing wide, though. And Steve took a sniff at the inside, but couldn't get his nose in. As they come through the S's, Steve's starting to close in.
Our director reminding us of certain curses that may exist.
We have to do something to make something happen out on track.
Right, exactly. Well, especially since we can't create any fuel drama today.
Certainly not. Well, I mean, you could. Somebody could have maybe flirted close on it. But I have to imagine, what are the fuel increments on this car, Sean? I don't think that they're big enough to really that it's worth cutting it that close.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. And especially when you know how many laps you have to deal with, it's always good to put a little extra in.
Most of the drivers, if they've done their homework, probably have got enough to get it all the way to the end. Although our director trying to pull the role of Bill today reminds us that maybe some people don't know how to translate imperial gallons.
Yeah, very well could be.
And oh, whoa, as this battle's getting very close, I'll get back to my point that I wanted to bring up earlier, but Koki is under threat as they come down to the Casio Triangle. Bycroft looking stronger and stronger, but the Indiana driver doesn't get the run off the corner. What I was going to say, Sean, one thing I love about the Lotus 49 and the Lotus 79 is the fact that it is in imperial gallons, like they used to measure back in the day.
Yeah, it's something you don't know about the car unless you've been in the car, and you kind of scratch your head and you go, what? Hey, you know what? I know we got a good battle still going on here up front. Battle for 11th is pretty intense. Robert Simpkins doing his best to hold off Barry West and Sami Välimäki. Välimäki, who's continuing to move through the field, up 9 spots.
And West has a run here. Could we see a move down into turn 1 as he closes in, pops out to the inside? This is an aggressive Barry today. Just sneaks through turn 1, but he can't keep it in there for turn 2. Sorry to cut you off there, Sean, but West is on a tear. He's gone from 16th to 12th.
Barry definitely having a good day, man. Robert better get busy up there. You know, Barry in a good spot to have Välimäki right behind him, another driver who's picked up a lot of spots, Joe.
I was going to say Välimäki, don't forget him. This could be 2 positions lost very quickly for Simpkins. Started in 12th, holding down 11th. At this point, he's just trying to cruise home. But behind him, he's got to worry about West and Välimäki, who continue to put the pressure on. It's a nice run out of the hairpin to give himself a little breathing room. Back to West. through Spoon Curve. We've talked about it before. This second apex, so critical. And you can see West just slightly off of the apex. That's going to hurt him. Can't get a run off the corner. Or does he? Using the slipstream. Closes in very fast, using all of the track. He's way off. Oh! Barely holding on. I thought for sure he'd get an opportunity in the Casio Triangle, but getting off into the AstroTurf ruins it for West.
Joe, Anti-Lepisto might be closing in here. Starting to pick things up a little bit. Was about half a second faster last trip around.
A whole 0.6 faster last time. You can see on our graphic there at the bottom. What did Lepisto find that Prix doesn't have, or was it traffic potentially? As they have been dealing with lapped cars. You can see the Williams of Prix. That Fly Saudia machine has been strong all season long, but oh, he's found some speed back. It's gone from 1 second up to 1.5 seconds now.
Yeah, actually, that last lap for Lepisto was the fastest lap of the race for everyone. So he found something, at least a flyer on that one lap.
Can he keep that up, though? Prix, seeing that gap reduce, has turned up the wick himself as he crosses the line this time. Prix with a 1:49.1. Lepisto with a 1:49.5, and there's where that half a second came from. Battle for 6, not over as Bycroft closes in on Koki. Coming up to turns 1 and 2 one more time. As he runs out of track, he's going to have to suffer through the wake of the car ahead here through the S's.
Joe, Steve Bycroft is closing in on Nicola Koki for about 18 laps now.
Been trying his darndest. These two really have been impressing. Oh, and Norlampi is pitted. Was there an incident somewhere along the way?
Trying to find it, Joe.
Yeah, I'm looking back as well. Oh, it was out of the hairpin. He got into the wall, and this is what we've seen all day long, Sean. I'm not sure if we'll be able to find the replay, but it looks like just onto the power, lost grip. Here it is.
Well, it's a 106-degree track, Joe.
Oh, and it looks like we'll need to go a little bit farther back. This was coming out of the hairpin that the incident happened. All right, here we go. Now we've got it lined up. Here it is. So the Preacher, you can see as he comes out of the corner just a little bit too much.
Couldn't reel it in.
As we come back live, unfortunately, I think Juha has decided there's really not any more to fight forward with the car being that damaged. He has retired it.
Joe, up front, Lepisto got an opportunity here because our leader, Jerno Frisch, got Ralph Mathesius right in front of him as they head down to Degner. Mathesius gets all the way out of the way. He did not want to be a factor in that.
We had a pass between Valimaki and Barry West. We were worried about West overtaking Simpkins. Not the case. Let's see if we can get that on replay to figure out where that happened.
Yeah, in fact, there's a bit of a mistake there from West that leads to that pass.
It's out of what I mentioned before, out of Spoon. Just got to run on them side by side through 130R. Both of them testing their bravery. And it was the Finn who came out on top. I would not... I don't think I'd ever want to play a game of chicken with a Finn.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sammy Valimaki with a legitimate shot here, Joe, to finish in the top 10 today. He's got to get around Robert Simpkins to do it, though.
Coming from 22nd on the grid in that Jordan. Really hounding him. He is within half a second and doesn't have to worry about Barry West, who's dropped back somehow in all this. Only 3 to go. Quick note, Lepisto's closed the gap into a second one more time. Those two have been yo-yoing, but even if he gets it down within half a second, I think it's going to take a lot for him to dethrone Frisch.
Yeah, I would say so. I don't think Journo's just going to move over and give it to him.
Oh, and Valimaki now very close on Simpkins. Almost a repeat of the move we saw before, but he lifts before they get to 130R, electing not to go side by side this time through. Is he going to set him up for the Casio triangle? Breaking down for there, just not close enough. Oh, but a mistake there from Simpkins. Is this going to open it up on the exit? Valimaki can't get the power down quick enough. Good recovery from Robert as he goes to the inside to try and fend him off. Now back to the racing line. Could we see a chance down into turn 1, weaving to try and break the draft? Valimaki closing in his tire tracks, and he's going to have to wait in 11th still.
No! Simpkins a little bit of misses the line there a little bit, Joe.
Simpkins is feeling the heat. We've seen a number of mistakes now. And unfortunately, we may have to jump away from this because Lepisto continues to close with 2 laps to go. It is now down to half a second.
It is, Joe. In the Casio.
Did Lepisto potentially save his machineries? I mean, save his tires up here?
You know, he might have been pedaling there for a couple laps, and if he was, it may pay off for him here in the end. He's going to have to get a run somewhere, though, to get by him. I don't know where that's going to be yet.
The Austrian certainly going to make the Finn work hard for it. Now up into the S's. That gap has been holding at about 6/10. Whatever Lepisto did, it has worked out beautifully for the end of the race. The question is it enough to get him into first? It's going to be a very tough ask as they come through Dunlop. Now into Degner 1. Both drivers just absolutely pushing, using every inch of the track here.
Yeah, throw safety rating and I rating out the window here. You're digging for a win. Lepisto just going to use every limit of the track he can.
Both drivers not worried about the championship at this point. This is all for pride. Frisch has things wrapped up. Lepisto wants the best finish possible. He wants to get to that top step of the podium as they come out of Spoon. And look at Frisch respond. Has gapped him up to 8/10 now. Weaves back to the racing line. He's trying to break the draft. Coming through 130R. And boy, Lepisto takes it all the way to the AstroTurf. Now they break down a Casio triangle. Not able to gain on the Austrian. White flag is out here on the final round of the Lotus 79 Classic Teams Championship here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Lepisto is giving it the best run he can. It is to 7/10 between first and second. Into the S's one more time. What can the Finn do? Can he close in here? Make the best of a portion where you can't usually pass and just gain ground, set himself up for later in the lap potentially. It doesn't look like he's doing it. He gains a little bit of a 10th out of the final corner into Dunlop. Up to Degner 1 and 2. Mistake generators. Lepisto flirting with disaster, going all the way out. Oh, and look at what that does. Misses the apex on Degner too. That loses him 4/10 on Frisch. Now they come to the hairpin. And exiting off the corner once again, Frisch putting more nails in the coffin. as it's 1.1 seconds over Lepisto. Oh, and Prix also flirting with that AstroTurf around the outside of Spoon, but he makes good of it. Now down to the backstretch. Continuing to gain time. It was a valiant effort by the Finn, but Lepisto is losing out in this final lap. It may not have been a side-by-side battle. It was certainly a back and forth. Two Titans trying to make the best of the speed of a difficult car. And out of the final corner, Prix is going to really put a good seal on this championship as he wins the final round. Lepisto takes second. Calle Ruicola, well behind them, is going to take third. Hoffer with a good fourth. Matt Wood, how about that with a top five? And in the end, Nicola, the Italian, managed to hold off Bycroft for that sixth place.
Looks like Robert Simpkins is going to hold off Barry West for 11th, but Sammy Valimaki, he's poised to come home with a 10th place finish, Joe.
This is certainly a drive of the day for me from Valimaki. There you can see in that Jordan as he comes up the hill over the crest on the backstretch and through 130R. We watched his progress through, overtake after overtake. How about Sammy Valimaki getting himself a solid top 10 after starting in 22nd today? Nicely done.
And Simpkins and West had a good battle there at the end. West just not able to catch him.
Last car on the lead lap is going to be Anson Bennett. After a spin early on, he managed to stay on the lead lap. Not a bad feat. I'm sure it's a recovery drive he'll take just ahead of him. Keefe, and one of his first Lotus 79 races, goes from 23rd to 16th. That's going to round out our field today. We're going to come back with the official results as well as driver interviews. Between that, though, you'll see all the upcoming races here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Welcome back to Suzuka International Circuit. We just watched the final round of the Lotus 79 Classic Teams Championship here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Jarno Frisch summarized his championship season with a lights to flag win over Antti Lepisto, who managed to luck into a second place a little bit, but he ran a solid run and gave a hard charge to try and dethrone Jarno for that first place, but it wasn't enough in the end. Kalle Ruokola will round out the podium a whole 10 seconds back. Gerd Hofer comes home in fourth, and Matt Wood, which I have to say I'm very impressed with Matt's run here, to fifth. Nicola Kocky in sixth place, and Steve Bycroft, who he said after the race he just wanted one mistake from Nicola, and unfortunately he didn't get it. He's going to come home seventh. Right behind him, Timothy Dalton back in eighth, Pablo Suarez in ninth, and rounding out the top 10, the driver who we were incredibly impressed with, Sami Välimäki.
All right, and 11th today going to be Robert Simpkins, who had a really good battle there with Barry West at the end, who will finish 12th. Francisco Javier Gutierrez will finish 13th today. Daniel Gattuso, the Italian, in 14th, right where he started. Steve Sarles, the Texas man, finishing 15th. John Keefe, a 16th place finish for the man from Indiana. Anson Benet, he is going to finish 17th today. Michael Hilliard, 18th. Randy Shoemaker, the man from Texas there, in 19th. And Ralph Mathesius, going to round out your 20.
Yeah, you got it this time. Juha Norlampi finishes in 21st, unfortunately with some problems. Same with Jonas Puhaka, who ran into trouble, comes home 22nd. Patrick Lucius, 23rd, who DNF'd. Tim Williams, 24th. Michael Jeans, 25th. And David Van Voren was a did not start. We're going to talk to our winner and championship winner as well, Jarno Frisch, up first. Talk to him about what must have been a pressure cooker up at the front there. Jarno, you had cars hassling you at the start, and it looked like you had a bit of a break, and then suddenly Antti came on strong. Were you surprised by that?
Yeah, hi guys. I was a little bit surprised, although I knew that Antti would be strong, but yeah. Actually, I think he had winning pace, so had Juha and Jonas. So I was a bit lucky to bring it home in first.
Talk to us about this season and your rally back from early on. It seemed like Juha was on a tear and he was getting great results, and then suddenly it was like you were unbeatable. Was it a mental thing that you just found something in you to try and come back, or did you never change your approach the whole way?
No, not really. I didn't change my approach. I missed the first week, so Juha started into the season pretty strong, and actually he kept me on my toes all the way. He was running really fast, so yeah. I think the results every week depended on how much I liked the track and how the setup did work, how much time I had from practicing and such things, not my mental approach.
Now, next season has been released for the Lotus 79 guys. How do you feel about what they've put together with this one?
It was really good. It's been a fantastic season for me, and I think for a fun season for everyone else as well. So hope it continues like that. So thank you very much for doing all the nice broadcasts. Really adds to this series.
Absolutely, we enjoyed getting to do them this season. We hope we get to come back next season, that the community rallies together and is able to get us on the air once again. But again, congratulations both on the win and the championship. You looked impeccable this season.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hope to see you again next season. Bye-bye.
That was Jarno Frisch, our winner today here at Suzuka. Sean is going to talk to the guy that he beat to the championship, Juha Norlampi. Unfortunately, didn't have a good finish today.
Yeah, Juha, boy, that race just didn't start off well for you today. A bit of bad luck out there. Jarno gets the win and obviously the championship, and you chased him for most of the season. You had some luck early, but the luck seemed to fade away until last week. You got yourself a win, and today, though, was a bit of a rough one. How you feeling right now, buddy?
Well, thanks, Sean. Well, it was a great battle at the first 5 laps, and First, I want to congratulate Gernot for the championship, and it was a great season. And I posted those points. Gernot was first, 1,520 points, and I was the second place. It was 1,484 points, and third is Antti, and Antti had 1,442 points, and Kalle missed 1 point. He has 1,441 points. It was very tough there with Antti and Kalle. But nevertheless, well, there was a good battle with Jonas and Gernot, and I'm very sorry that it ended like it ended. And at third turn, there was it wasn't enough room for me there at the left. I had to go over the curb, and that didn't hold my car. It's just a little pump there, and hit Jonas' rear wing, rear tire, and that was it. I'm very sorry about that, but it's I think it's a racing situation, and these things happened. I couldn't go any further left, but well, that's it.
Yeah, you guys are racing hard down there. I certainly understand it's the finale. You want to put your best effort forward, and you want to race hard, and you race hard every week. And boy, it's been a lot of fun covering you here in this series, and hopefully we get a chance to do it again, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. It's a mutual feeling. And have a good rest in week 13, and perhaps and hopefully we can come back in next season.
Yeah, that sounds good, Juha. Hey, personally, from me and Joe, thank you so much for supporting us with the points information that you've been giving us here for most of the season. It's a big help, and it allows us to get those graphics together and make the show look good. Good TV.
Yeah, thanks. You too. Bye.
All right, Juha, and that is Juha Norlampi. Joe, he made his best run at it, but today comes up a little bit short. Let's see, who do we want to talk to next here? I know we got some people waiting.
I believe Eunice Buhaka is waiting in the wings to talk to us. He was the one that got into the incident with Juha Norlampi. And so why don't we get Eunice's take on the incident? I know it sounded like you were a little bit upset about it afterwards. Now that you've had a chance to go back and watch, how do you feel about what happened on track?
Well, Joe, first of all, thank you for having me on the interview. And yeah, we heard Juha's take on the incident, and my take is that, well, we went too wide. Juha made a mistake exiting last chicane. We went too wide for a long time. I had him almost cleared at the exit of the first corner. Now at this point, it had been well established that my car is faster through the corners and he's faster through the straights. But I saw that he was still coming. He was still kinda there, maybe not enough there by some people that I shouldn't have left a room, but I did leave him a room. Admittedly a little bit tight on the entry, but there was plenty of room for him right after the entry. And he hit the curb, he went right into my car and, well, hit me. And what's most frustrating is that it's the same guy every time. Every single time it's the same guy. And I would think that people, racing drivers of this caliber, would know by now how to drive through corners too wide. And no, I'm not having any of that excuse that it's a difficult part of the track to go too wide. No, it's not. Any place where there is room for two cars, you can go through too wide if you respect the other driver and leave room. And this is, I think, the third or fourth time in the broadcast history that this has happened now. Him going wide on the entry of the corners and hitting me and ending my race.
Obviously, a lot of frustration there, understandable. The good news is that the points reset for next season are kind of taking this as a chance to maybe come back and finish ahead of him in the points next season as maybe a moral victory of sorts?
Well, 22nd place and a moral victory don't usually go hand in hand, but, well, I finished the race. Even when my car was driving very badly, I tried to finish the race, and that's what I always try to do. And I hope I can get time to do some races next season, to be honest. We're a small team, and as a result of that, it hurts when the car is crashed. It hurts us all, and I would have wanted a great result here today. Honestly, I think I would have had a shot at winning this race by pure pace. I was just lifting it behind Gurno and Juha, and they were faster on straight, but I had them I had them where I wanted them, and that's when it ended. But sometimes this happens, and it's racing, and you just got to keep your head down and wait for the next time, I guess.
Indeed, these things do happen. And again, commiserations. We hope to see you back next season, and best of luck in that.
Thank you very much, Joe, and thank you guys for fantastic coverage too.
Thanks. That was Jonas Vuhaka, unfortunately not having the best race today after an incident with Juha Nuorlampi coming home in 22nd. Before we go, we're going to talk to Barry West, who has caught up with Sean.
Barry, great job today, man. You picked up 4 spots. You finished 12th, just outside the top 10. Talk about that battle, though, you were having with Simpkins, man. You seemed like, boy, you just couldn't get there.
Yeah, hi, Sean. Yeah, that was some battle. That was intense all the way through the race. Yeah, Robert, I had one run on him and I couldn't make it stick. And then later on I made a slight error and Sammy was catching up. I mean, we had 4 seconds on Sammy, but because we were fighting, I think he got caught back up. And then I made one slight error and I thought, well, we let him go and then see if he can get Robert. And he did. I think they came together in turn 1. Robert got on track just in front of me again, and then we resumed the same battle. And I was quicker in, but I just could not get past. It was just nip and tuck all the time. Pushed on the last lap and nearly came to grief at the chicane. But it was such a fun race, and Sammy drove well. He was very patient behind us, and he deserved the position. But yeah, pity he didn't get top 10. But knocking on the door, and next season we'll come back even stronger.
Yeah, and you know what, Barry, before we let you go, I got to tell you, it's been a lot of fun calling you in these races and getting to talk to you in these interviews this season. It's been a lot of fun, buddy.
Yeah, it's a few more to come in because it's good to hear different people's races. I mean, you focus on the front, obviously, but there is some pretty intense battles going on behind as well. And yeah, it's all for points, I suppose, but and pride. But yeah, it's Robert's found a lot of pace lately, actually, because I used to just nip in front of him all the time, and I got caught up at the start of the race behind who was it? It was Randy Shoemake, I think. I got held up for a couple of laps, and that gave Robert a couple more seconds. I just could not pull the seconds back. I think we're doing very similar lap times. And I did an earlier race, and exactly the same happened. You know, he was 6 seconds in front, and he stayed 6 seconds in front, and we were just, just couldn't build on it. But yeah, it was an intense race.
Well, Barry, thanks again for always coming in, taking a chance to talk with us. Hopefully we'll see you here down the road soon.
Yeah, that's all right. Thank you for you guys. You did an amazing job this season. Cheers.
Cheers to Barry West. And Joe, I think you had a quick question for Anson Benet. Talk to him about his race today.
Yeah, Anson thankfully managed to stay on the lead lap, but excuse me, if I could talk. He put himself under the gun coming out of the hairpin early on in the race. Talk to us about what it's like trying to drive these cars in the slow corners, Anson. We saw a number of drivers really struggle with that hairpin corner.
Hey, hi guys. You guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, I think you have it right on the nose. This car is so fantastic at speed. At slow corners is really where that low end downforce just disappears, and you really have to have good control. I overdid it at the hairpin. I missed a shift, and it just kicked out the backhand, and I lost something like 10 to 12 seconds. I would have had a decent, I think, chance for a 14th place maybe. I was in a decent little battle there with Steve and Daniel and John, but I screwed that up, and I spent the rest of the race trying to catch up with John, and a couple tenths every lap just wasn't enough to close the gap.
Absolutely, and of course every season, once it ends, offers essentially a chance to renew things and maybe try and buckle down and start with a fresh slate. Going into next season, do you have any goals? Have you thought about how you want to approach it, or will you be back for the 79 next season?
Oh, I'll definitely be back. This was my first full season, and I set some goals. I put it in the forums and everything, and I was able to get almost all of them in Division 5, and hopefully next season we'll see some more improvements. I really enjoyed it. I just have to work on some pace and learning more about setting up this car, which is so very, very important.
I can see how that could be if F1 car is very sensitive to those setups. Thanks for coming and talking to us, Anson. Unfortunately, we've got to wrap up and close out today.
All right, thanks a lot, guys, and thanks a lot for a wonderful season, wonderful coverage. Thank you.
That was Anson Bennett, who finished in 17th today. And speaking of our coverage, once again, we want to remind each other this is our last broadcast that we have scheduled at the moment for the Lotus 79 CTC Series. Unfortunately, our usual contact, Nuno Moreira, with the Lotus 79 series is not able to continue working with us on that just for real life obligations. And we'd love to work with the community to try and get something organized for next season. We still got time to try and get that together. So if you're part of the Lotus 79 series and you want to see that get put together, please reach out to us. And we can go to the website, globalsimracingchannel.com, use the contact form to reach out. Or if you're on iRacing, reach out to us through private messages or through a thread. We'll try and get something working wherever works best for you. But in the meantime, we do have to close up, hopefully not for the last time here with the Lotus 79 guys. And we do want to thank one more time, a huge, huge thank you to the Lotus 79 community. They came together, they got this broadcast on air for this season, and it has been an absolute joy working with them and with Sean and with Amjad. And thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed on the screen. Additional thanks to Eric Eckel and Casey Lalonde, who provide our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Amjad, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel or Facebook at /GlobalSimRacingChannel. We have some upcoming races for other series listed on our screen, always on air, all kinds of days of the week here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Check those out and mark them down on your calendar. However, until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.